Today, more people live along the banks of the salt pond year-round. Marinas and private docks line the shores, and the Port of Galilee is home to a modern fishing and charter fleet. Thousands of years ago, the pond was a lifeline for food and shelter. Perhaps many of us don't realize how much we humans have had a hand in changing it, and maybe not for the better.
Well, the water quality in the pond is less than acceptable at this point. The pond is multi-use, overdeveloped, and a lot of material coming down from the Saugatucket River.
The Saugatucket River flows into the north end of the salt pond. At the mouth of the Saugatucket River, fresh and salt water mix. The estuary embayment recesses into the coastline, forming shallow waters and salt marshes. With the rapid development growth along the river's watershed, the Saugatucket became a prime source of pollution and excess nutrients.
We have a lot of inputs from runoff, excessive rainfall, failed septic systems or inappropriate septic systems, too much fertilizer in the yards, and it all ends up in the pond.
It's sad. It really is. It just gets sad to see the overfishing, the non-concern, the erosion and everything else that's just so damaging.
The Saugatucket watershed begins in a small pond east of Deer Ridge in North Kingstown. From there, it travels southward past the Wakefield Woolen Mills. In the 1900s, aqueducts diverted the Saugatucket's water through mill turbines for energy. From Wakefield, the fresh water flows to a pond at the west end of Wakefield's downtown and spills over a dam next to a modern fish ladder. The river continues beneath the Main Street Bridge and past Silver Springs Marina, where it joins the waters of the pond and eventually empties into the Atlantic Ocean.
The Saugatucket River gathers all the drainage from the roads from the towns into the river, empties out at Ram Point at the north end of the island.
In the early 1800s, there were at least 10 mills with dams and streams that flowed into the ponds on the south shore. In the heyday of the mills, the color of the Saugatucket's water was conspicuously affected by the dyes the mills used. On days when cloth was washed, the upper pond would be cloudy with soap suds. In the 1940s, successful Peacedale mills were discharging 2 to 3 million gallons of wastewater a day into the Saugatucket River. By 1946, Upper Point Judith Pond was closed to shellfishing due to sewage discharges from the river and surrounding properties. But the biggest threat comes from a process called eutrophication. Eutrophication can be caused from excess nitrogen and phosphorus from sewage, lawn fertilizers, and fossil fuels that run off the land into the water. The very same fertilizers that encourage plant growth on land can wreak havoc with algae growth in the water. This is why water quality in the pond worsens after heavy rainfall events.
Well, water is definitely not getting any better. We've lost a lot of habitat. Our bottom composition has changed. I mean, we used to have very healthy eelgrass populations. Now it's kind of a fine organic mud. Some people call it black mayonnaise, very small grain size and very little oxygen that penetrates. So oxygen limits on the bottom is become a problem. So we do have some anoxic problems there. I would assume that areas in Long Cove would probably be anoxic in certain conditions.
As the water flows, it backs up into Long Cove. Some of it goes around to the Narrows, but most of it backs up into Long Cove and is dammed up by the causeway.
After a primary sewage treatment system was installed in the Peacedale Mills, water quality improved. However, today, the northern end of the pond and Long Cove remained closed to shell fishing and still has the poorest water quality with smelly mudflats. Long Cove is susceptible to pollution because circulation is blocked by a filled-in causeway leading onto Harbor Island. Local residents are taking matters into their own hands. Recently, members of the Harbor Island Improvement Association teamed up with the Salt Ponds Coalition and the town of Narragansett to study the feasibility of raising the roadway.